All right, hey everybody, good morning.
Buongiorno.
So I'm surprised we're here already. It really went by so quickly. So I'm glad you're all here. You're gonna have a fantastic time in January. We have a lot of people here to speak with you. Do you want to just say hello and introduce yourself?
Good morning, everybody. I'm Paula. I'm from AIFS Study Abroad.
My name is Shauna, and I'm the director of the Student Health Center here.
I'm Sonia Lubicic. I'm the humanities instructor. Getting to go with you all.
And I'm Mike Hillman. I'll be teaching Art 103 Renaissance.
Great. So we'll have Shauna speak to you, and she just wants to talk about self-care and wellness. Go ahead. Thank you for coming.
Good morning.
Morning.
Morning. I'm so excited for you all. I'm the director of the Student Health Center here, and got the privilege last winter to experience study abroad, and it was life-changing for me. So if this is the first time for you all, it's really take everything in, but also I would like for you to be mindful of self-care, because you're going to be in a new environment, and some of the things that we take for granted, like maybe even the time change can possibly affect your mood. Really, and if you have any history of like anxiety or depression, I found that when I traveled last time with the students, that a lot of people we didn't have this conversation. But if we had a do-over, that we should have this conversation. So if you have any anxiety or depression, or if you're taking any medications, make sure you let your teachers know. If you're having mood changes, you're going to be away from home. This might be some of your first time away from home for so long. And it's normal to maybe miss your parents, or miss your routine, or even miss the food that you're used to eating, right? So I first wanted to say that. And if you notice any changes in not only your mood, but maybe your roommates, because all of you are just learning each other, right? You're just getting to know each other. Please share with each other. I'm kind of feeling lonely, or I'm missing my mom, or whatever. It's okay. Share with your roommate so that they can in turn share with the instructors, or share with your instructors directly, okay? I have a form that I'm going to pass out. It's just very simple. It's your name, your email, your phone number, if you have any allergies, if you take medications, what you take them for, and your plan for them while you're abroad. And I would like for you, it's voluntary, but it's all to just help support you while you're abroad. So you could give them to John. It's completely confidential. It'll stay between the teachers who are going, myself, and John. But it's just, it's like an emergency information. You remember when you were in the 5th grade, you went on a field trip, your mom had to sign something? But you're 18, so you do it. But if we don't know you, they don't know you yet, they don't know anything about you per se, it's good for them to have an idea of how to support you, so that you have the best experience that you can possibly have, okay? So that's the one thing. The other thing is, if you take prescription or over-the-counter medication on a regular basis, you should take that medication with you. Make sure you have enough for the month, okay? Maybe even a couple extra, because if one rolls someplace falls, just make sure you have enough. Marijuana is legal here for medicinal purposes. I don't know, it's not legal everywhere. It's not legal there. And you don't want to get caught up at the airport with those dogs in customs. I'm just saying. You will have a whole slew of people mad at you. Okay? So don't do it. Don't take it with you. Be mindful. Don't try anything while you're there. I don't know, what's available, but, be mindful of all of those things. if you're on birth control, make sure you have enough to take with you there because you don't want any lapse in that too. And I think the other thing was, make sure if you take your medications that you take them in their original containers. Because, you know, Customs does do random checks and it's just easier. If you have some pills in a baggie, then they'll confiscate them and then you won't have them. Do you have any questions? Yes.
She has asthma and it hits her when the weather changes.
Okay.
In colder weather, when she breathes cold air. In case of an emergency, and she's gone to your health center several times for breathing treatment.
Yeah.
So
It's okay.
if there's an emergency, what happens?
So you need to make sure, that's good, because you're gonna be doing a lot of walking. I don't know what the weather is like. Make sure you have your asthma medication. And listen to your body. She's not the only one with asthma, I'm sure. Asthma is not, you know, you're not the only one, so don't be embarrassed. Make sure that you take care of yourself. Wrap the things that you can do. Put a scarf around your neck. Drink lots of water. Take 2 inhalers. Keep one with you at all times. Put one in your suitcase, but keep one with you at all times. And if you are having a hard time, tell someone. That's the biggest thing, because you guys are gonna it's 4 weeks, you're gonna like bond. So just tell someone, like, I'm not feeling good, can you tell one of the instructors? And then the company that you travel with, they can take you to the doctor if you need to. Yeah, it's not uncommon, but, you know, just don't be embarrassed to ask for help. That's the biggest message here. Don't be embarrassed to ask for help. We're all in it together and here to support each other. Don't be sorry. Have a fun, safe trip. What you put in is what you'll get out of it. Enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you, Shauna.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
So welcome, buongiorno. My name is Mike Hillman, and I'll be teaching 38 of you. So the people who are signed up for the Art 103 Renaissance to Rococo, can you raise your hand just so we have an idea? And Senya will be teaching the humanities course. So we're going to go through this PowerPoint rather quickly. I know a lot of the students have already seen it, but maybe the parents haven't. So I've tried to include everything we're going to see, not the individual objects, but the places. So you're going to become real familiar with this building. This is the Duomo, which is Santa Maria de Fiore, St. Mary of the Flowers. Trip is January 4th through February 2nd.
Yeah.
And
You tell me
it
when
will
you-
be cold. So I would suggest you bring plenty of clothes. Senya has a little visual aid here.
I brought my winter jacket. This is what I wore last time. So if you want to just take a look at sort of the weight of it, it's waterproof. It has a hood. It helps. The other thing that I love are the little neck warmers. You can get these for like $2 at Daiso, and they make a huge difference. I am always wearing one under my scarf, and it just lets kind of your neck stay warm. You can pull it up around your ears. But just this little thing really does make a huge difference. So that was my show and tell for the day.
Tell me
Okay.
when you want.
So it will be cold. So plan ahead. So again, Senya Lubacek is the instructor for the humanities, and I will be teaching the Renaissance art history. We're fortunate that one of the first days, I think it's the second day we're there, there's the Feast of Befana, which is based on the idea of the Epiphany, and the Three Kings Parade. So that's going to be happening. So we're going to really include all the local things that will be happening while we're there and try to take advantage of those. There's another thing that I haven't heard if it's happening this year. It's called the F-Light, which is a light show that they illuminate all the different monuments with sort of modern, contemporary light images. And they've had it every year we've been there before. One of the main things we're going to go look at is, again, the Duomo. So this is the backside, the apse of the Duomo, and this is just a shot of the interior. So we're actually, I think, about the 3rd or 4th day. We're going to spend the whole day going in the museum of the Duomo. We're going to be going up into the cupola, and we're going to go up the bell tower. So you really have a sense of this structure, which is just awesome. And this was at the top of the Duomo last year, or actually 2 years ago. You could see a few things in the distance, and one of the reasons we're including this right away is because you could see everything. You could see, for example, in the back, Santa Croce. You could see where the school is. You could find out where your apartment is. So I think it sort of helps to orientate you a little bit, okay? This is the baptistry. We're going to have a tour of the baptistry with an amazing guide, Angela. And so we'll learn all about the baptistry and particularly the mosaics inside, but the doors. The doors are very important to the history of Renaissance art. And again, we'll see the Ponte Vecchio, and this is just an image of the light show. So we're hoping it's on this year. That's the Ponte Vecchio at night, lit up with Andy Warhol images. We're going to spend probably one whole day in the Uffizi. The Uffizi is the main art gallery of visual things like drawing and painting, not necessarily sculpture. So in the Uffizi, we'll see things like
Sorry.
Botticelli's Birth of Venus and Medusa by Caravaggio. And this is one of Michelangelo's few, and I believe it's the first painting he ever did. This is the Holy Family.
Sorry.
We'll spend, that's okay, we'll spend a lot of time in this area. This is the Piazza de Signoria. It's sort of like the main town square. We're going to spend some time looking at the fake David here, but we're going to look at the real David at the Accademia later. This building, it's hard to see. It's called the Lanzi Loggia, and there's several sculptures that will look there. We'll look at Gian Bologna's Sabine Women. We'll see this Neptune fountain. There's a Cellini also that we'll be looking at. The main sculpture museum is called the Bargello, so we'll spend one morning there. We do visit a lot of different churches. Each of these churches are historic and tell a little bit about the history of art. This is Santa Maria Novella. One of the pieces we'll see here is Masaccio's Holy Trinity. The Holy Trinity was one of the first paintings that was created that showed true perspective. So at this point, obviously, we have no TVs, we have no cameras, we have no way to record things. And so when the people saw this three-dimensional structure painting, they almost really thought it was real. So we'll see how Masaccio really changed the course of art history with perspective. Santa Croce, which is pretty much adjacent to where the school that we'll be at is located, has a lot of things we'll see there. It is the burial place of Michelangelo and Dante, Machiavelli, but also it's a beautiful proto-Renaissance church, and it's also famous for, I don't know if I have an image of it, but yeah, there's the interior. But one of the things it's famous for is this little chapel, and you can see sort of how the Renaissance begins in architecture in the Pazzi Chapel. We go to Santa Maria del Carmine, which is on the other side of the main river called the Arno, and we'll see this tribute money fresco by Masaccio. We'll talk all about why this is important. We'll go to the Accademia one day to see Michelangelo's David. Hospital of the Innocent, where Brunelleschi first sort of introduces the classical canon of architecture for the Renaissance that becomes so famous. But we also spend the morning in San Marcos, which has some pretty amazing frescoes. If you haven't heard or don't know about the man in Savonarola, we'll learn about him in a video before we leave, but this is where Savonarola and all of the monks lived. We go to San Lorenzo, and we see the Medici Chapel, we see the Laurentian Library. One of the things that this picture shows clearly is the idea that the architecture isn't always finished, and particularly on the facades. A lot of the times the facades or the front was finished 200, 300, 400, 500 years later. They didn't consider it, for some reason, the front as part of the design. So a lot of times you'll see everything finished, the interior finished, and then the front, rough stone. So we'll see quite a few examples of that. And inside, we'll see Michelangelo's Laurentian Library steps and night and day. We go to the Pitti Palace, which is now basically chock full of different types of museums, and we'll spend the day in the different museums there. Behind the Pitti Palace, we'll see the Boboli Gardens. Okay. One of the really fascinating buildings is the Orsa San Michele, and it's fascinating because this is basically was developed as a granary, and they later had a competition to put in each of these niches sort of symbols or artwork that referenced the guilds. So this is actually the Stone Workers Guild, and this is one of the images they created, or sculptures they created. And we'll see why this is so important. You can basically see the history of Renaissance art and sculpture if you walk around the building. And most people, as you see here, walk right by it. It's like, no, this isn't 600 years old or anything, but we just walk right by it. Okay. We go to the Medici Riccardi Palace, and look at the only person taking notes. Senya, the teacher needs to take notes, not the students. They're so focused on learning that they don't need to take notes, right? But we spend the morning in the Medici Riccardi Palace. And one afternoon, we take the bus. It's about €1 or €2. And we'll go up to Fiesole, which is just a little mountain town. There's some Roman ruins up there, and it's just pretty much spectacular views from up there. On the other side, this is where Fiesole was, on this side of these hills. There's a little sort of a landing area called Piazza Michelangelo. There's spectacular views and photo opportunities. At the top of this hill area, there's this church, San Miniato a Monte, St. Minius of the Mountain. If you are, or if you're not, Catholic, or if you just want to hear Gregorian chant every afternoon about 4:30 or 5, the monks sit in the little chapel underneath, almost like a grotto, where the remnants of St. Minius are located, and basically sing and chant and say the Mass. So it's pretty powerful. One of the things I'm going to do different this year, I've been fortunate to go to Italy with Citrus several times now. I've always heard there was 9 different Last Suppers, or cenaculos. So as part of the art history class, what we're going to do is we're going to try to visit all 9 of them. Okay, so you'll see how Leonardo da Vinci's sort of influenced the later ones, and how maybe these ones influenced Leonardo when he created his famous one in Milan. Another example, and a third example. We do take a day trip to Siena, and we go inside the Siena Cathedral. There's the group 2 winters ago. You can see everyone's all bundled. Well, you could if you look quickly. Even though it's a sunny day, everyone's bundled up. We all have our coats on. People have hats on, scarves, boots. So it's a good shot to see how the other people dress.
Leave your flip-flops at home this time.
Yeah, leave your flip-flops and mini skirts at home. Okay, the same day we go to San Gimignano, which is probably most famous for the towers. And this is a shot of San Gimignano in the summer. It's going to be a little different in the winter when we're there. And then I would highly recommend, if you aren't or haven't signed up for the side trip or the weekend excursion in Rome, to do so. We see St. Peter's, things like the Trevi Fountain, St. Teresa Next to See by Bernini. I think what you will end up, what I did, and the 2 art historians we have here at Citrus basically have fallen in love with Bernini once they get through Rome. Everyone talks so much about Michelangelo. He was great. Yes, he was great. But once you start seeing Bernini's work, you're like, oh my God, this man was far greater artist than even maybe Michelangelo. So I think you will see that. You'll see just the quality of the sculptures, the craftsmanship, and the difficulty in subject matter that he was able to create. So this is in Rome, St. Teresa. We go see the beginnings of, you might say, classical or the Renaissance, the Pantheon, and the Colosseum. So you all know the Renaissance is the rebirth, right? The rebirth of culture, basically. And basically, the rebirth, meaning it was already birthed before. They were looking back to Greek culture and Roman, basically. So the inside. This was a shot from our hotel one year. And we go into St. Peter's. Again, inside St. Peter, we'll see the Baldacchino by Bernini. We'll see the Pietà by Michelangelo. We go next door to the Vatican Museums, which are immense, but one of the highlights for most students, I would say, is the Sistine Chapel. And we'll learn sort of the difference between, let's say, high Renaissance art, and as even Michelangelo starts moving into, you might say, post-Renaissance and Mannerist style, you'll be able to differentiate those styles, I hope, at the end of the course. And again, this is another Bernini. This is in the Borghese Palace, which is just outside of Rome. So we tend to do this on a Sunday morning. So students will have the option of going to the Borghese Palace. Some of them go have audience with the Pope. And then the afternoon is basically free to get back to the train station. So I think we're going to do the same thing. Two winters ago, we did plan a day trip to Venice, and Cindy and I were talking, we're going to do it again this year, and it ends up being about 40 euros for the high-speed train to Venice. We spend the day there. We look around St. Mark's Square, and obviously you get to ride on the canals. And one of the stops we're going to make is to see these Bellini paintings, which are in situ, which are in the site where they were created for, which is one of the few times the artwork has remained, you might say, where it should be. Okay, it's in Santa Maria Gloriosa dei Fiari, just popped in my head. And last time we were there, it was supposed to pour rain, so everyone was, like raincoats, covered up, bundled up. We get to Venice, and it was beautiful. It was sunny, but by the end of the day, it was about 7 o'clock, it started to snow. It's one of the few times that it had snowed in Venice. And so this is one of the students. And just look at her face. She's just like loving every minute of it. So, love it. Again, not as part of the formal trip, but we take a side trip to Pisa. And the main cathedral in Pisa, the baptistry, and the bell tower, the leaning tower is the Campanile, which is, a lot of people don't realize that. The same day we go to Lucca, and Lucca is a beautiful little town, and what's really, you might say, extraordinary about it, it has a wall around the whole city that you could ride your bikes on. So this is a group of girls riding their bikes. Obviously this was a summer program, a little different dress. We'll also take you, for those who want to go, on a weekend to Assisi, and you'll see where St. Francis is buried. And then a little more of the logistics of the program. This is actually the classroom, and I think it's a 14th century building or so.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
So the building we're going to be in is, 500 and some years old. Marta is still with the program, so you'll meet Marta. We do an Italian cooking and wine tasting courses one evening. This is actually in San Lorenzo Market. There's markets all over the city. They'll be close to where you're housed, but there's also farmers markets. There's lots of opportunities to eat pizza. This is one of my favorites. It's pizza. Can you say that, Senya?
Pizzaiolo.
Pizzaiolo. Pizza man. Okay. And it's just so charming. I didn't set this up, but the bike's sitting there, the tables are outside, and there's like 8 tables on the interior, and it's the best pizza I've ever had, by far. Unfortunately, I think I put something on that Italy 2019 about how we're going to spoil you and destroy your lives forever because you'll never like pizza here again. You're like, oh, it's nothing like Italy. So some typical food. And of course, Cindy and I have our favorites, but one of mine, because it's delicious and it's close to the school, but it's also pretty cheap, is La Caria, which is gelato. Okay, you'll have plenty of opportunities to have gelato. You'll hopefully learn a little bit about the cafe culture in the morning, how the Europeans and Italians basically eat. And just this morning, I pulled out this little change purse that I have, and I discovered there was €80 in it.
Yes.
So,
It's a lot of coffee.
And we'll talk a little bit about the money in a bit. Okay, so we'll learn about that. The aperitivo, which you might say is the Italian happy hour. That's actually Kool-Aid there. Next. And obviously there's opportunity to go out in the evenings. There's probably, I think I heard, like 30,000 college students in Florence at any time, particularly in the spring and the fall semester. Not as many in the winter, but there's plenty of opportunities to cohort with your friends. Is that photo in the winter?
No.
Summer.
Yeah,
That
that's a
was
summer
probably
one, yeah.
summer because flip flops, flip flops, flip flops. Yeah. In winter, it would be a little
Tights.
bit more
Wear
bundled up.
your tights.
We're going to talk a little bit about the housing a little bit later today, later this morning, but this is just an image. All the students will be in houses throughout the city. We're not in like a big dorm or a block of hotel rooms. We're actually in apartments. Depending on how many students are on the trip and the ratio of men to women, usually it's maybe 4 to 6 people per apartment. So it all sort of depends. This is one of the students' apartments a couple years ago. And another one. And then one of the things that I have discovered is the wonderful, and sorry to put you on the spot, Judy, can you remind me of the artist's name? Clef? Clef. And he basically creates art, some people call it graffiti, on some of the public signs. So these two are pretty nice, with the dead end with Christ on it, and then the deposition with Christ coming down the cross. And one of my favorites, going up. And this was on a little walk, another piece of street art. You can't teach experience. I fell in love with Italia. Becky Aus, 2011. So that's what I hope to instill in you, that this is an experience that hopefully will stay with you for the rest of your life, but maybe encourage you to even travel more, or what we're going to learn, yes, will be in textbooks, but you won't need a textbook, you'll just be living it. So your experience will be most of the course. Okay? So, important note there. So that's it. Any questions about that?
That slide you showed of on was it when they're writing on those books?
In
Gondola.
Venice? The gondolas, yeah.
Is it not too cold during the winter? Is nothing frozen?
Nothing freezes over. It did snow, but it was only snowing for an hour or two, and so it wasn't that cold.
Okay.
So I think if you want to go on the gondola, you still can.
Okay.
We actually go on what is called the water taxi, the rapto, and so you'll be able to go on the canals. It's sort of like a taxi, and there may be 50, 100 people on these, but you'll also have the opportunity, if you wanted to, just go on a gondola. They're pretty expensive, maybe 100 to 200 euros. There are places along the canals where you can get on for €1 or €5 and just cross it on a gondola, so have you want the experience.
So I was gonna say, if you really, really want to do a gondola ride, find a group and see if you can split the cost. So share the burden of the experience. And the gondolas will have heavy blankets that you'll hold on your laps, and they'll try to keep you cozy in the winter.
And there'll be gondoliers who,
Sammy, do you want to
Talk
now? Do you
Are
want?
we gonna introduce our classes separately?
I don't have. I have instruction of the facility, but not
yeah,
for
why
the
don't you
faculty.
do that,
So.
and then at the end.
We'll do our classes at the end.
Okay.
I need my coffee.
Yes. This one's yours. Liz. I'm done.
You got it open?
Yeah, will you open it for me?
Okay.
Because I'm not good at that.
Can you pass that over?
So I guess I'll start if that's okay. We'll save a few minutes. My name is Paula Messina, and I work with AIFS Study Abroad. I, like you, came to study abroad as a student, so I remember feeling exactly like you do, a little scared, a little nervous, thinking I might drown in Venice because there's water everywhere. What am I going to do? Very unsure, very nervous. My parents a little bit in a panic, but once I got there, I realized that, there were sidewalks and I could do it and I could navigate my way through the world, and it was a game changer. Like Shauna said, like Senya said, it is gave me boosted my self-confidence a lot and changed the way everything for me, my whole life plan. I ended up going back to where I studied abroad. I studied abroad in Spain with AIFS. Ended up going back and worked for AIFS as our on-campus coordinator at the University of Granada, Spain. So I have been in study abroad working for 27 years. 23 of it on campus working directly with students. So I have a lot of advice for you today about what to do, what not to do, what to watch out for, and a lot of advice for parents as well. Last winter, my son went on both my sons actually are students here at Citrus College. My son went on the Costa Rica study abroad with Shauna. So I know also what it's like to be a parent and have your child far away on study abroad. So we're going to walk through the logistics of study abroad, what to expect. If you have any questions, please feel free. It might be something that I forget to talk about. So if you have any questions, please feel free to stop me. If you would just keep to the topic of the slide. It makes it a lot faster because sometimes I'll get to your question a few slides away. So your dates, like Mike said, are January 4th to Saturday, February 2nd, 2019. That'll be the day you return. I don't have anything more to say about Florence than what they've said already. You're going with two of the experts. In AIFS, they are famous. They're the dream team. No, really. Our staff in Florence adores them and are thrilled when they lead a group of Citrus students. So you are going to see one of the most beautiful places in the world with two of the best. So good for you guys. That is a picture of where you're going. So to get to the logistics and the practical, AIFS group flight, so all of you who have signed up for the group flight, which is all but 15 of you from what I understand, will be departing on Friday the 4th on Delta Flight 78 from LAX at 12:07 in the afternoon, p.m. That means you want to be at the airport by 9 a.m., which means you need to leave, you need to calculate. It's a Friday morning, there's lots of traffic. I'm thinking, knowing LA traffic, you better leave now. But you need to leave early enough so that you get to the airport 3 hours ahead of time. Parents might want to park and get you checked in. Remember, you have to go through TSA security, and so it does take time. You want to get to your gate at least. They start to board generally international flights like this about an hour prior to departure. So you'll be boarding probably around 11 a.m. The flight, it does not go to Florence Airport directly. It is a smaller regional airport. It can't land big planes like the one you're going to take from LAX. So you will be going through Amsterdam. So you'll fly into the Amsterdam airport. You'll arrive, it's an overnight flight. You'll arrive the next morning at 8:30 a.m. and then depart at 10:05 a.m. and arrive in Florence at 12:05 p.m. Your faculty will be on the flight with you. Okay, Mike, that's right. Mike will be on the flight with you, which is really nice. That doesn't always happen, so it's great. You'll have faculty to fly with you. The itinerary for this is on the AIFS portal. How many of you have logged into your AIFS portal? All of you? Yay. All right, excellent. So in the program documents section, you'll be able to find a copy of this itinerary. We will actually send you a printed copy of the ticket confirmation. Remember, there's no such thing anymore as an actual airline ticket. It's just an e-ticket, and you'll have a confirmation number. We'll be sending you a copy of the itinerary and the ticket confirmation confirmation number, plus some beautiful green luggage tags, which help us identify you when you get to Florence about 10 days prior to departure. They will be mailed actually by UPS. They'll be sent to your permanent address that you gave us. Once you arrive in Florence, you'll have AIFS staff meet you in the Florence airport and transfer you to the apartments. Now, you're all saying, but I didn't do the group flight, right? So what do? There are 15 own travel students. If you know your flight itinerary, which hopefully you do by now, you have your flight itinerary. It would be a great thing if you emailed it to us at florence@aifs.co.uk. Please copy down that email address. Super important. Everybody should copy down that email address, actually, florence@aifs.co.uk. We have an additional server. It's not .com. It's a .co.uk, which is .com in Britain. And there's our server for our European programs is that one. Okay, so please include your name in the subject line plus Citrus College in the subject line. It helps us easily organize our groups. And after we receive your itinerary, we'll send you clear directions on how to get from the airport to your housing. And you have some bus opportunities. You also have taxi opportunities. So we'll detail all of that for you. We will then also be able to send you your your address, right? So on travel day, and this goes for everybody, like I said, make sure that you're there 3 hours before departure. Make sure that you know your e-ticket confirmation number, have your passport on you, don't pack it. Make sure that you are aware and have packed appropriately according to airline rules. So your checked luggage is a maximum of 1 piece at 50 pounds, right? And you can get on Amazon, you can get little luggage scales. I don't actually have one of those. My thing is if I can pick it up, I know it's under 50 pounds. For some reason, I can't pick up 50 pounds. I don't do weights. I should, but I don't. So, but make sure because they will weigh your luggage. If it's over 50 pounds, you'll either have to remove items or pay for an additional piece of luggage, and that can be really expensive. It depends on, each airline has different fees. Also, watch your carry-on size. A lot of people like to pack additional things in their carry-on and make them really large. You'll have more overhead on the international flight, but remember you have a Europe regional flight from Amsterdam to Florence, and it will be a smaller plane with smaller overhead, and the luggage, the carry-on restrictions for that flight probably will be less than for the international flight. So my advice is to make it a medium-sized backpack, or smaller. If it's a roller, make sure that it's one of the smaller size rollers. If not, they won't let you take it as a carry-on and you'll have to check it and pay the fee, all right? In Europe, they're pretty strict about the luggage in the inter-Europe flights, okay? Yes, sir.
So the young lady in the slide before this, she had it looks like she had
A
two
roller,
cases
yeah.
and a backpack.
Yeah.
So did they allow that, or are they going to count the backpack as a carry-on?
The backpack generally is a personal item. You can generally take carry-on plus a personal item. She's probably carrying it as that.
Thank you.
I should probably tell them to remove that photo. That would be the best. But this might be a group that did actually just do one transcontinental flight. Because you have that layover, and that is something that's unavoidable because of the Florence airport. You know, for our groups going to Madrid or Barcelona, they can often do LAX to the city directly, and they don't have to worry about size. But you guys do. So my recommendation is a medium-sized backpack or a very small roller. But you can also bring a personal item. You can bring a purse. You can bring a laptop bag. So you can have technically 3. All right. When I travel, I always travel as if they were going to lose my luggage, right? So when I travel in my carry-on, I always carry something to sleep in and a complete set of clothing for the next day. My luggage, luckily nowadays with technology, it's very uncommon for luggage to be lost. But the one time I did have my luggage lost and I had to start a program the next day, I had to sleep in my travel clothes, get up, take a shower, put back my travel clothes, put them back on, and then do the whole day orientation. I was miserable. Lesson learned. So I always talk about this. Pack something to sleep in, pack something to change in. Undergarment, socks, and something to wear the next day. All right. You don't need to pack shoes. You can wear that over, but definitely pack a change of clothing. Pack your medication in your carry-on, right? Like Shauna said, in the original packaging that it comes in, especially if it's prescription medication. And if you are traveling on your own and you are delayed, it's really important that you have that florence@aifs.co.uk email programmed into your email address list, and you can let us know if you're delayed. If you're traveling on the group flight and there's an issue, you do have faculty right there, but if you were somehow separated, then email us. Let us know what's going on, okay? As far as be patient, right? Traveling is a hassle. It always is. It is for everybody. So be patient, listen, stay aware, follow the rules. You know that airline travel, you have to be polite, patient, but aware of what's going on. Gates change, things happen, so you have to stay aware and relax. You'll get there, right? After we pick you up, we'll take you to your apartments. Remember that you'll have your check-in for your apartments. And so our staff in Florence has a great sense of humor. They've prepared this PowerPoint for you. Elevator, what's that, right? Remember, a lot of the buildings where you'll be living are centuries old, so they probably don't have an elevator. There is no porter that will follow you from the airport. Carousel to the outside to your housing. You'll have to carry it all on your own, so make sure that you can manage all of the pieces that you bring with you. Okay. Your orientation day, which will be the day after arrival, you will be meeting at a central meeting point, escorted to the study center where we will have a very specific on-site orientation with our local staff. They'll go over safety and security. They'll go over what to do, what not to do in the city, how to do things like take public transportation. They'll also go over the history of your new home. We will have time in the afternoon to see the Three Kings Parade, so you'll be able to enjoy that once a year tradition. And then your classes will begin on Monday, January 7th. You'll have your first day of class with Citrus faculty. Your staff will be there. We'll have regular office hours to help and advise as needed. You'll be given your full itinerary of everything that is included in the program. We'll also do a walking tour of Florence and an evening welcome dinner. If you have any dietary requirements, any allergies, then you're a vegan, a vegetarian, something like that, you have to let us know. It was a section that we had on our AFS enrollment form, so we really appreciate you guys being open and honest about that. We have had vegetarians who decide they're going to start eating meat on study abroad and then get there and change their mind. So definitely think about it and be open and honest about that kind of thing. All right, as far as your accommodations, we've shown you a few pictures, and I have a few more pictures here, but just a few things to understand that they're all in the city center, so expect some city noise. You know, we all live sort of in the burbs, right? We live in suburban Southern California, so some of us on noisier streets, others in more residential areas, so you will be living in a very busy city, so expect noise. There will not be central heating, right, with a thermometer, that's temperature control that will turn on the heat every time the temp dips below what you have it set on. That doesn't exist in Europe. You will have radiators that are turned on by the building homeowners association, and they will heat the apartments at certain hours of the day. A few hours in the morning, a few hours in the afternoon. So it is important that you dress like it's winter.
I know I have two children that are your age, and they are currently walking around our house as if it were July, right? You're not going to be able to do that in Florence, right? You need to have warm clothing for when you're inside the building. When I lived in Europe, this was the same exact thing in Spain. When I lived in Europe, I had a pair of thin fleece, like sweatsuit that I wore all day as soon as I got home, and I wore up until the time I went to bed, and then got flannel pajamas because it was cold at night. So I know we're Southern Californians, and I've definitely adapted to the weather too, but you have to here, but you're going to be living in another climate and another kind of custom of how do they dress. Right? Leave your flip-flops at home, definitely. You don't need them. Definitely warm socks, definitely slippers for inside. A lot of the floors will be marble or tile, and they get quite cold, so you definitely want to wear slippers when you're inside. You'll have a maximum of 30-minute walk to school. Some of the students are closer, some are a little bit farther, but you would be at a max of a 30-minute walk. Think about that as free gym, right? So you'll be able to walk back and forth. You get at least an hour of walking exercise a day, no treadmill needed. So you're going to save a lot of time. It's the apartments themselves will be smaller, right? So you'll have one common area, you'll have 2 or 3 bedrooms that are twin rooms, so you'll have 2 twin beds in them, and they are a little more basic than what we are used to here in the States. You'll have a wardrobe and a bathroom. Like I said, probably no elevators. There are older buildings. Utilities are expensive in Europe. Incomes are lower. Utilities are about the same rates, a little bit higher, so people do tend to try and conserve energy a lot. So that means when you're not in a room, you turn off the lights. That means if it's daytime and the sun is out, that you open the shades and you use natural light instead of turning on all the lights in the apartments. You're not allowed to have overnight guests, and that is a safety and security thing. You know, you cannot bring strangers home because it compromises the health and safety of your other students in the apartment. You're in charge of the cleaning. So if you do not clean the apartment reasonably, pick up, not leave huge messes, especially when you depart, you might be charged a cleaning fee that could be taken out of your room damage deposit. So make sure that you don't leave messes. And I could show you photos, but I'm talking about students having goodbye parties with lots of bottles and making lots of mess, and then leaving the next day for the airport without picking up their mess, and that they got charged a cleaning fee. All right? Everything is different, and especially as far as noise, respect your neighbors. You'll be in apartment buildings with neighbors that are ordinary Italian citizens, and if you are having very late parties and making a lot of noise, it's very highly likely they'll call the police, all right? There are noise restrictions, common hours between 6 a.m., 7 a.m., and 10 p.m. at night. After 10 p.m., you want to make sure that it's quiet. All right. Any roommate requests, please email us at florence@aifs.co.uk. We will give you guys a few days, say this whole week, to make any roommate requests. By this time next Saturday, if we haven't received any requests from you, then we will start to pair up the group based on the questions that you had in your AIFS enrollment form. We'll pair you up and then send you the information about who you're rooming with and where. Yes.
I just want to stress, maybe you could all start walking and going up and down stairs. That was one of the biggest problems we have with people getting blisters on their feet.
Sure.
Some days we might walk 7, 8, 9. I think one time in Rome we went 11 miles in one day. And you might find this a ridiculous amount of walking the first day or 2 or 3, and then by the end it ends up being your favorite part of the day, just walking around the town and cities. So I would highly recommend if you could get in some sort of walking program around your block, around your city, even around your house, up and down the stairs, it would be highly beneficial to you. I think that's one of the biggest problems at the very beginning. Students are just not used to the walking, and they get very tired.
Sure.
So if you could start walking,
Yeah.
that'd be great.
It's healthy too. It's good for you. Yes.
The utilities, is that already included or is that?
They do. They include up to a certain amount. If the usage is extraordinary, then we would bill the student, and it would be taken out of the damage deposit. It doesn't. Generally, students do adapt, and they live a little more European. So yeah, you'll be happy when they come home. We'll have them all trained. Yes.
What about laundering? Is there?
So they'll have, I'm going to get to that actually, they will have, this is a picture, I'm going to get to that slide and we'll go over that. You'll have, this is your kitchen, in your kitchen you'll have a front load washing machine. Generally they tend to be a lot smaller than what we have in the States, but here's your dryer. So remember it is cold, right? You see the floors, the terrazzo floors, right? So the floors are cold. Things take a little longer to dry in the winter, so doing laundry will be a very thoughtful process, right? You can't do your laundry the night before a big trip because you will be leaving with a very heavy sack of wet clothes. So this laundry will become part of the process that we're going to teach you life skills, guys. Yeah, Europe does that, yes.
We brought blankets.
So they have blankets, sheets, blankets are provided, towels are not, so having one towel is a good idea. Yeah.
Like detergent.
Detergent is not provided, so they will have to go maybe between the group of them they can go and buy, or they can buy at a local supermarket a small thing of laundry detergent.
Are there laundromats if you don't want to?
There are some laundromats, I believe, yeah. With dryers probably, yeah. Yeah.
So one of the things you can do is wash at home and then dry
That's a
at
good
laundromat.
idea. It's a great idea.
There's actually quite a few of them around the city. And it does help if you just need the clothes dried. Just go to the laundromat, put a couple euros in, and leave the clothes there, go have a cappuccino, come back, and you're all happy.
But do be aware that the wash cycle is extraordinarily long
Yes. Yes.
in Europe. You might be used to a 20-minute wash here, and there your washer may run for an hour and 20 minutes. Your clothes will be really clean. But it just takes a long time, and if you open the door because you're impatient, you will flood the apartment.
Yeah.
So let it run its course and
Right.
have a couple cappuccinos.
Yeah. They're front loaders, they're smaller. Generally they're 5 kilo tubs, which is about 10 pounds, which is probably a third of what you're used to. So your loads will be smaller, right? But you're going with one suitcase. And guess what, guys? You can wear jeans a couple days in a row and it's fine. Nothing will happen, you know?
Go shopping.
Or you could go shopping, and then you have to get it all home. But you can rewear outfits, sweaters, change your undergarments, but wear a couple times and it's fine. Europeans do that a lot. That's why they wear a lot of cologne. It's fine. Yeah. So there's what your beds look like, more or less. Where we're located in the center of the city. Santa Croce is right here, if I could find the arrow. So this is the Basilica. And then right around the corner is our study center in the Piazza de Peruzzi. And this is the building. Front door is right here. Next to the old Roman, this was a Roman amphitheater. So some of the original walls are still there. Inside, your student center. That's Gina. There's one of the classrooms. This is the student center. So you'll have computer use, you'll have printer. Also have some tables where you can do some group study. Yes, study. Here's your staff. So you have Gina, who was from Cal State Fullerton. She was a student on a Cal State Fullerton program. Trung, who was a Pasadena City College student, now works for us. Nick, Max, and Sophie, who's British. So this is everything that your student staff does for you. So they've set up your program in coordination with your faculty. They're there to run the program and make sure everything goes as smoothly as possible. But things happen, right? Real life happens. I think Shauna the idea that we want you to take care of yourself to minimize the things that happen, but when it does, you don't feel well, you have a temp, you think you're getting a cold, you need to see a doctor, your debit card doesn't work, things like that, then you have staff to go to. So please do contact them if you need any help. They're also all travelers, right? So they have great advice and information for any additional independent travel that you want to do. They also run a 24-hour emergency phone. So if you don't feel well, then you have a phone that you can call someone, and if you need immediate medical attention or something like that, you have them, right? The 5 of them will share the phone on a rota basis. I'm not sure how often they rotate it. So, all right, but we urge you to definitely contact them if you need them. Please talk to them. You know, they're going to ask you how you're doing, and if, you know, you're telling us everything's fine, thanks, we're going to believe you, right? It's the students that are, you know, calling home and saying, I'm miserable because so-and-so. I can't believe that this is going on, and you're not communicating with us, then we're assuming that you really are fine, right? Your parents are here in Southern California. Guess what? They can't help you. Right? Please let them know if you need any assistance or if something's not going as well as we hoped and planned for. Talk to them. They do not bite. They're very kind. They've all studied abroad themselves, very empathetic, and their job is to help make it better. Okay? There you have, again, their email address. That is the emergency phone number. So parents are welcome to copy that down. Those are all the numbers you need to dial directly from the U.S. to get our emergency phone there in Florence. The students will have this on an emergency card. So in your orientation, once you get to Florence, we will give you a packet of local information maps, a orientation handbook, as well as an emergency card for you to keep in your wallet. But you're certainly welcome to program this into your phone. When students put this under AIFS, we're generally the first in their contact list, and we get butt dialed a lot. So please be careful how you list it, because it is an emergency phone. When somebody calls this phone, my head would explode when this phone was dialed, right? That would mean that it was like the bat signal, right? Somebody was in jeopardy and I needed to jump into action. And it was sometimes just a butt dial, which made me imagine all kinds of crazy stories in my head. But please just keep that in mind, okay? And remember, posting on Facebook is not an emergency at 3 a.m. It won't wake anybody up. So you do have to make the phone call if needed. Yes, Alex. Yes, it's 112 in all of Europe. And all of the European countries have your English-speaking emergency staff. So if you ever dialed 112, you could ask to speak to someone in English and they would help you. Yeah, and that's in any European Union country. So that's a nice tip that I like to tell my students in case they were traveling in another country and needed help. But our staff will go over that once you get there as well. As part of the on-site, we've already gone over all of the wonderful, amazing visits that you have included in the program, and some that are additional. But there you have some dates, and you'll be given an itinerary once you get there. Right? The optional Venice day trip, not included, but you can sign up and pay when you get to Florence. So that's something that we'll do then. The Rome weekend, since a hotel is involved, we do need you to sign up in advance. Yes? The Venice trip is around 40. They didn't give me a price, but around 40, yeah, for including train and entrance to the Guggenheim. But for Rome, because hotels are involved, we do need advance sign up for this. So we do have a deadline to sign up for Rome, and that would be by December 6th. So if you would like to participate in Rome, the cost of this is $525. You can still sign up. The deadline would be December 6th, which is next Thursday, this Thursday coming up. please sign up via email, and for that one, you would have to email a different email. It's customized faculty-led at aifs.com. That is our Stamford office in Connecticut, and Karen or Patty, there are staff there, would sign you up, and you could pay via the online AIFS portal. Make a credit card payment for that, but that's everything that trip includes. The cooking class is included. We'll be doing it in 2 groups because 48 of you at once is no meal will be made. It will just be a big food fight. So we're going to split you into 2 different groups. One, half the group will be on the 22nd and the other half on the 23rd.
Is that the Rome?
This is not Rome. No, this will be in Florence. Yeah, and this is included. You don't have to pay anything extra for that. But it's great. You'll be eating a nice hot Italian meal one day. As far as the discipline, we're going to get into a little more of the practical. Remember, this is a study abroad program, right? It's not a travel program. It's a study abroad program. It's an academic program. You are subject to the same rules and regulations that you would be as here on campus, right, as a Citrus student. So you've already, in your AIFS enrollment, already ticked the box that signs the agreement and release form. If you ignore the rules, it means consequences, and one of the worst could be up to removal of the program. Do you have something you want to jump in yet, or at the end? Okay, I'll go through this and let you. Written warn. Generally, we do a 3 warning process. So the first time you break the rules, depending on the incident or the issue, you would get a verbal warning. The second time would be a written warning. The third time would be dismissal from the program. But anytime there is a disciplinary issue or procedure, then Citrus is notified and they are involved. So remember that you are, expected to behave in an adult manner, and we would have in a respectful manner, right? Respect for one another. No verbal or physical abuse will be tolerated toward each other, the faculty, any AFS staff, guides, neighbors, facilities as well, and 0 tolerance of violence or of any illegal drugs, right, or substances. Students have been removed in the past, and we don't like to do it, but we never can guarantee that it wouldn't happen again. So if you are removed from the program, then you would lose credit and there is no refund, right? So you have to remember that. John?
Yeah, just real quick. As Paula said, or while you're abroad there, the Florence campus and classroom is an extension of our campus. And while you're on this program, Title IX does apply. I think you're familiar with Title IX, but it basically has to do with sexual harassment, right? So, why can't I do this? Here we are. So, if you have a Title IX complaint, you can contact Dean Hester, or you can also reach out to our Title IX coordinator, who is Brenda Fink. And if you just Google Title IX Citrus College, you can find more information here, and also you see Brenda Fink's email address there. You can also talk to your faculty. So that is what I need to say about that?
Yeah.
Okay. There we go.
We're going to just do, a lot of times disciplinary is health and safety as well, and we're going to do that in just a few slides. The order of this is a little random, but I didn't do it. But you do also have the this meal voucher plan. If you're interested, these are 10 meal vouchers. The cost is $175. You can use one meal voucher per meal. There's a list of 10 or 15 different local restaurants that will take the meal vouchers. They are wonderful from what I understand. They're very popular and well rated. So they can be used for guests, for friends. You can split them among a group of students. As far as keeping in touch, I know that this is big on everybody's priority list. How am I going to use my cell phone? What am I going to do? A lot of students, your cell phone probably will work once you get to Europe, once you get to Florence, but you have to be careful of what the rates will be. So you need to check with your cell phone company to see what the financial consequences of using your phone to use the data, to use text messages, and then to make any phone calls. So definitely talk to them. What a lot of students do is turn off the actual, they put it on airplane mode, so they'll turn off the data and the phone calls, but they will keep the Wi-Fi open. And since there is Wi-Fi in the student center and in most cafes and restaurants around the city will offer free Wi-Fi, they'll use the cell phone for just the Wi-Fi, and they'll call home using one of those apps, right? Skype, Facebook has it, Instagram now I think has it too. Alex?
I was just going to mention, I have a handful of people that have traveled across the world, and WhatsApp has been the most reliable, and I have older people in my family that aren't familiar with other things
Yeah.
like Skype, they have
Yeah.
It's just very user-friendly.
Yes. So WhatsApp is been popular for years across the world, never kind of came in this country, but in Europe, everybody has WhatsApp and everybody communicates on WhatsApp regularly with one another. So any Italians you meet will ask you if you have WhatsApp. So it's a really easy download and it's free, and you then it will automatically connect you to anyone in your contact list that has WhatsApp. So it's easy, and it's an easy way when you're there to call home, and you can do video and voice chats, voice calls. And I believe it uses less data than Facebook and other apps. So you'll be using less data when you're there. Now, some US providers do, like T-Mobile you can use your data unlimited in Europe and your text messaging as well. So if you have T-Mobile, you should be able to use those. And the phone calls, if you were to make them, which we don't recommend, we recommend calling with one of these apps, would be a lot less though than it would be. AT&T, Verizon, I'm not sure what they do. I know AT&T has several international plans with limited data usage when you're there. So you might want to talk to your cell phone provider and see what they can give you. You could consider purchasing a cheap local phone or a SIM card for an unblocked cell phone. That's another one. The snail mail is also a nice everybody loves to get mail. Everybody loves postcards, beautiful postcards from Italy, so that's a nice thing to do. As far as receiving mail, you're only there 4 weeks, but as soon as you get there, you're going to go, oh no, I forgot it, or I didn't think I needed and now I do. So you're going to call home and want a care package, right? Mom, that jacket that they told me to bring and I really didn't believe them, I really need it. So your mom's going to want to put it in a bag or in a box and send to you. Just be aware that receiving packages in Europe, you're subject to importation and sales tax when you receive any package there in Italy. They could be very expensive, so our advice is to mark any package used personal goods and limit you'll have to declare a value and limit the value to under $50. And that should get your student the package with no sales or importation taxes. Know that USPS does take at least a week or two to receive packages, that it's not very quick. And definitely avoid mailing any medications, any cosmetics, any foods, or electronics. Those will be stopped and taxed. The electronics will. The medicine, cosmetics, and food, they're not allowed to be imported into Europe. They will be returned. So don't send them. Definitely ask our staff. They can give you equivalents of your favorite cosmetics or your favorite foods. You can find nearly everything. I mean, globalization that's the beauty of globalization, right? You can find all kinds of stuff in Italy. Yes?
How would you suggest bringing home a bottle of wine for like my parents or something?
So according to, that's U.S. Customs, when you come back, technically you have to be 21 years old to be able to bring alcohol back into the United States, and you're limited to, I think, 3/4 a liter, which is more or less a bottle of wine. That you can check U.S. Customs regulations on Department of Homeland, DHS.gov. Department of Home. You could just Google customs regulations. Yeah, and you'll find them.
So regarding the last slide, I didn't catch it. Is there going to be Wi-Fi at the apartment?
Yes, you'll have Wi-Fi at your apartments. Good. Sorry, I missed that. Wi-Fi at your apartments, Wi-Fi at the student center, and in many local restaurants, cafes, hangouts all over the city. You'll have a lot of open Wi-Fi. Okay. Some cafes you might have to make a purchase and they'll give you the login, but yeah. But you'll find a lot of. But your homes will. What you do want to know, and I guess they didn't put that on my slide, is that download speeds are, sorry, was there one? Download speeds are lower. Every time they give me one of these, it's completely changed. But download speeds are much slower in Europe than they are here in the States. So if all 4 or 6 of you are all streaming or trying to stream, let's say that, maybe one of you will be able to stream, but then the other 5 won't be able to. Talking on the phone, WhatsApp uses less mega data, whatever that is, so it's easier for that. But you might have to take turns and sort of stage. If you all try to do anything but kind of surf the web at once, it could be difficult. Okay, just so you know. Also talking, because we will be on a 9-hour time difference. Talking to your parents in the middle of the night in Italy when they get home from work here can be very loud. And I know because I'm a loud Italian from New York. And if I were trying to speak to my mom here in Southern California, my neighbors would be banging on the wall. So the way I solved that was buying a headphone with a little microphone, and I didn't have to scream at the computer screen to my mother. And it made a big difference. So if you have a headset with a microphone, then that's a really good thing. Okay? As far as being a mother and a mother of a study abroad student, advice for parents out there, I know it's hard and you're going to hate me for saying this, but the best thing that you can do for your student is not talk to them every day. Let them go. It's time to let them go. Let them create a life for themselves in Italy. They will enjoy it more, they'll learn more, and it will be a better experience and you'll get your money's worth that way. If you are on the phone with them every day, sometimes several times a day, you're really impacting their experience in a negative way. You really are. You're not getting your money's worth. They're not learning. They're not out doing what they should be doing, which is getting out in Italy, experiencing it and learning on their own. I remember when I was a student in 1988, I talked to my parents every 6 to 8 weeks. And I was on my own, building my life in Spain. And that's what they're there for. And I know what it's like, because I remember when my kid was in Costa Rica and I was just biting my nails, all day long, waiting for him to call. When something bad happens, you're going to find out. And know that you've sent them with a study abroad company that is watching out for them. You have 2 of the best faculty possible. You have a star AIFS staff that is looking out for every single one of them. If something bad happens, you are going to find out immediately. So let them go. All right? That means you guys too. Stop calling home every 5 minutes. All right, you can figure it out on your own. That's what we want for you. Okay, that's just a little very personal advice. As far as climate, we talked about how cold it will be. Yes, it will be really cold. It may rain. I know. Plenty of walking. It's good for you and it's free. All right. So those are the things. Don't say we didn't warn you. As far as packing, definitely bring medication. Definitely bring a towel, maybe 2. Towels are the kinds of things that you could leave there if you purchase some fantastic Italian outfit, Gucci, knockoff, I don't know. And you won't have enough room. Towels are the kinds of things that you can leave, right? No worries. Definitely bring clothing that you will wear, clothing that you can layer, that you can wash easily, not things that shrink or will get ruined easily. You don't want to leave them home. Definitely bring rain gear, comfortable shoes, shoes that are broken in. When you said the blisters, that's very true. That liquid skin, that's good for blisters. That might be hard to find there, so if you get a little bottle of that at CVS or Walgreens, that's a great thing because those help with blisters. Download your playlist for long journeys, your laptop, your tablet for classwork. Yes, ma'am.
I would just say on that first point with medication, I don't think we've ever done a study abroad where there isn't a cold that just sweeps through the entire program. And so it's a really good idea to bring not just your prescription medicine, but if you really like Mucinex, bring some Mucinex or some Sudafed or whatever it might be that is going to sort of get you through the night or through the congestion that you may have. You can, of course, go to a pharmacy in Italy. They tend not to medicate as much as we do in the United States. If you go in with a cold, they'll be like, oh, it's January, of course, right? You've got a cold. So go take a nap. Go to sleep, rest, have some hot tea. So if that's something that would help you, I would really encourage you to bring a supply of the cold medicines that you like from here.
That's great advice. Absolutely. We're going to do a little bit more of health and safety too. Yes, sir.
I saw on a couple slides there was snow. Is snow
Yes.
something that's common, or is it just kind of there for a couple days, or
Doesn't really accumulate, does it?
No, it's not very common.
Right. Right. So it might snow but not accumulate if it gets really cold in the evening, right? Yeah. Don't bring bed linen, don't bring pillows, although somebody's going to bring a pillow. Somebody always travels with their pillows, but it's fine. Don't bring clothes that you might wear. Don't bring heavier expensive items such as jewelry, right? Leave the gold chains at home. You don't need them. Remember, you're traveling. It's okay to wear the same outfit several times. Don't bring inexpensive hairdryer or flat iron. Remember, there is a voltage. Where am I? Yeah, there is a difference in voltage. So in the U.S., all of our electronics are prepared for 110 voltage, which is the jolt that they get every time you plug them in the wall. Once you plug your appliance into a Italian wall plug, it will get either 220 to 240 volts. So it will get double what it was built for, essentially. You should not bring any hair dryers or flat irons because they don't have converters built into them, and they will start a fire, they will explode. So definitely don't bring them. If you need a hair dryer or a flat iron, you can buy them inexpensively in Italy when you're there, and you can probably buy it and share the cost among a few the flatmates. I had a question in the back, I know. As far as your laptops, tablets, smartphones, those are made to travel, so they have built-in converters. It should be fine to plug them in without one of those, what they call converters. No one really uses them anymore because all of those kinds of electronics have built-in converters and they can take that much voltage, okay? What you will need is an adapter. An adapter is something that changes the plug from the two flat US prongs to the two round European prongs, and that's what those are. You will need an adapter. So you can buy those on Amazon, you can get them at Target, at Walmart. My advice is always to have two, because there's generally, I'm always needing to plug in my computer, my laptop, and my phone. So my advice is to have two. You can get the simple ones or you can get the multi-travel ones. These are a little more expensive, but they generally run in the $12 range. These are cheap. They're usually about $3, $4. You can also get them in Italy, but you're going to run out of juice and not have it. And it's going to be Sunday the 6th. It's Three Kings Day, and you can't charge anything in. So definitely bring them with you. Okay? Then you don't have to run around looking for them. Okay? Apple, also, all your products are Apple. They also have their own converters, or adapters, sorry. Okay, as far as that. As far as money, you will be using the euro when you get there. So the euro coins, €1, €2, and then the smallest bills that they have are $5. So having change purses is really an advantage, right? Because you will accumulate a lot of coinage, more than you would here. So having a change purse. My husband is European and he carries a purse with him all the time. My American family can't believe it, but he is used to having a huge, big change purse, and he's also asthmatic and he always has a little inhaler on him. So yeah, guys, you will probably have a lot of coins that will drive you a little crazy, but having a little purse or something, you know, an over-the-shoulder kind of thing, very trendy in Europe. All right. You will be able to use your debit cards, as long as they're one of these systems, to take out cash in euros when you're there. Your bank then will deduct the corresponding fee in dollars from your account. Talk to your bank about what kind of fees that you'll be charged for taking out cash, withdrawing cash from a non-network or a foreign ATM. There may be an international transaction fee. There may be a cash withdrawal fee, right? So definitely talk to your bank. They may have suggestions for you. I know banks like Bank of America, if you use a Barclays Bank, which I'm not sure if there are Barclays Bank in Florence, probably not. No, nothing there. So see if they have any agreement with a banks in Italy that you can use, and they would waive that with cash withdrawal fee. All right. You should definitely have a debit card and a additional way to access funds in case of emergency. Generally, that's having a credit card. If there are no more. What's the word I'm thinking? Thank you. There's no more traveler's checks. Those have gone the way. When I was a study abroad student in the 80s, they were a thing. They're not a thing anymore. No matter what your grandparents say, they don't exist. You can do the travel money card, which is a little either Visa or MasterCard that does have really good international rates, and you can load that card up on an as-needed basis. So that's a great option if you don't have a credit card in your name. All right. Definitely bring maybe 100 euros with you in cash. You can order those from your bank. There's also a place in the Ontario Mills Mall that you can get, which from what I understand is a pretty good deal, that you can get Euro cash with. You can compare rates. Buying Euro cash in the States, of course, is going to be a little more expensive than doing it once you get to Europe, but it is a really good idea, especially if you're one of the 15 traveling on your own. It's a really good idea to have some cash with you. Not all taxis will take credit cards or debit cards, not all the time. So you definitely want to make sure that you always have a little bit of cash on you. Don't bring dollar cash is what they're saying, right? So you cannot use dollars anywhere in Europe. All right.
What does it mean it's more expensive to get euros?
So whenever you exchange money, right, from dollars to euros, you will be losing a little money in the exchange rate, and you'll also be charged a commission. So the exchange rate that you get here in the States for Eurocash will be worse than when you get to the States. Yes?
Would I exchange my money for Japan and LA money exchange?
Oh, okay. Okay, where is that?
LA money exchange?
Where is that?
In LA.
Oh, in LA. Okay. Well, LA is big, so LA Money Exchange, you can Google it. All right. You probably be careful with that, because when they do say we don't charge commission, it's just my experience. You generally get a worse rate. So you do end up paying somehow. All right, just so you know. It's 6 to 1, half a dozen of the other. All right. As far as health and safety, so again, we can't say, I think we've said this at least 3 times already in this PowerPoint. If you have medication, bring enough for the whole trip. Pack it with you, at least enough to get you through the trip there, the rest in your suitcase, but bring enough, and Shauna had great advice, bring some extra. When you are jet lagged, when you've changed countries, you've changed cultures, you're away from home, possibly for the first time, your body has to go through a process of adjustment, right? So it is normal not to feel exactly like yourself for the first few days until you adjust to everything. You're going to a completely different climate too, and that affects your body. It triggers illnesses sometimes. So definitely bring enough. I had a student who had a serious hemophilia, and he had found that he took, and I know that's a very serious illness, but he needed extra medication than he typically took because his body was adjusting. All students are covered by the AIFS provided insurance, and we have wonderful medical coverage for our students. It will cover any illness or accident that happens while you're on the program, up to $100,000 per incident. There is a one-time $50 deductible that you would pay out of pocket, and then everything else is covered. So any hospital, doctor's fees, nursing fees if they were separate, medication is included. It is wonderful comprehensive coverage. Our staff there is thoroughly versed on our insurance and how it works and what to do. If you may have to pay out of pocket to see a doctor, and then you would file the insurance forms for reimbursement, all right? And you would be reimbursed everything. That would be if you have a small doctor visit. If you have something more serious like a hospitalization, then that would be our insurer providing costs or providing payment directly to the hospital. If you have a pre-existing condition, you have limited coverage. It's only up to $500. So make sure that you have your own health insurance card and that you have talked to them, tell them you're going abroad for 4 weeks, find out what the procedure is in case something happens, all right? No dental coverage unless there's an accident and that your teeth are somehow affected. There are English-speaking doctor services available. Our staff knows great doctors for all kinds of problems, so definitely go to our staff and ask for recommendations. They'll help set it up for you. Pharmacies do give great advice. Look after yourself. Shauna was fantastic. I'm just going to add that it is very important to take care of yourself. When you go abroad, and this is from personal experience of working with students for 23 years, actually even 27 years, because I still sometimes do programs. When you go abroad, like I said, your body goes through a process of adjustment, right? It is really important that you take care of yourself. That means eating properly. Remember, no meals are provided. You have kitchens, but you're out and about and you're busy, and it's easier to eat, a slice of pizza, but too much, of eating junk food too many days means that your body and is affected. So eat some good meals, some healthy foods, eat protein, eat vegetables, eat fruit, all right? Hydrate. I have seen students become ill because of dehydration continuously. So definitely take time to hydrate. And then my last advice would be to get some rest. All right, so much is going on. There's so much happening. You might be jet lagged and not sleeping in the beginning. Taking naps is okay. I'll give you permission. You can take a nap, all right? You might not sleep more than a few hours at a time for the first day or 2 or week that you're there. So naps are good. All right, so you might need a few naps to get yourself back on a cycle. And then when you're out and you're there's a great nightclub that we want to go to, and that's great, and you can have some fun as long as you're careful, but you do need to get sleep, because when you don't get enough sleep, you get sick, you're not studying, you're not going to class, you do need to watch, okay? So that's very motherly advice, but it's also advice from someone that's been on campus and dealt with the consequences, okay? So look after yourself. And that's it. Make sure that this should be on your to-do list. Register with the U.S. Department of State Smart Traveler Enrollment Program. If you Google STEP, this will definitely come up. The STEP program, you'll need your passport with you, you need your flight information with you, you need the AIFS office information. Where do I get that? You've all logged into your portal, right? Your AFS portal. Have you all looked in the document section of that? There is a pre-departure handbook there, right? Which is like a 20-page document that has all that information there. Your flight information is a separate document, but it's there. But definitely download that 20-page document and read through it. And if parents would like to, you read through it too, yes.
So on that, they put address down. Do we put down the apartment address?
No, put the AS office address, and then once we send you the your apartment address, you can update it.
Okay.
All right, or add it in there. You can add an additional address, which is fine. Okay? Any other questions? No? Definitely do this. This is required. Okay? You'll all have to do that. This is for your benefit. So if there were some kind of an emergency that happens in Florence, be it man-made, be it natural disaster, our government knows where you are and they can come to your aid. If they don't know where you are, how can they help you? Right? So we would do this for you if we could, but we can't. Every student has to do this individually. Once you get to Florence, we will be reminding you to do this and asking you to sign a waiver stating to us that you have. All right, so please get it done. It won't take long. You can do it right after finals on the 13th. I know that you're all getting ready for finals. The kids in my house are too. All right, record any trust. So that was the first thing. Second thing, we require that all of you that travel independently from outside of Florence overnight, that you tell us where you're going. It's not an option. You have to tell us. We'll email you, I think, on Wednesday and say, hey, you have weekend travel plans. Please let us know. And you email us back with all of your travel plans. If you are going in a group, one of the group can do it and include all of your names. That's absolutely fine, but someone has to do it, okay? It's really important that you let us know where you are. Again, if something happens in the city that you're traveling to and we don't know you're there, how can we help you? We have offices in 23 different countries, and I think 20 of them are European countries. So if something were to happen in the region where we know you are, we probably have staff really close to you that can help you. So if you don't tell us you're there, we can't help you. All right, so that is definitely a requirement. Photocopy and scan your passport. So I always keep a copy of my passport in an email to myself. Keep a photocopy here at home. Keep a photocopy on you. So make a photocopy, fold it up, keep it in your wallet, and you will have that copy on you for your entire study abroad experience. All right. Limit the expensive items that you take. Neutral clothing. Pickpockets will definitely be the biggest challenge that you're faced when you're there. So definitely keep all of your items secure and make sure you're always aware of where everything is. So that means I always keep my purse in front of me, make sure it's got a zipper. If I'm in a crowded bus or a subway, I always make sure that I have it in front of me and I have my finger sort of on the zipper part so that it won't get opened without me realizing. Another mother tip, make sure that you get personal effects insurance. So we offer personal effects policy for, I believe, $95. And it will cover your personal stuff, your laptop, your tablet, your phone, all that good stuff. You may want to purchase a policy from your homeowner's insurance, or maybe your homeowner's insurance does cover the things that you travel with, definitely check on that. But my son was dancing in a discoteca in Costa Rica about 2 weeks into the program and had his brand new iPhone that he got for Christmas lifted out of his pocket. Didn't even realize until the end of the night. But I had the personal effects insurance and it was covered. So that's the good thing. So definitely do that.
Question.
Yes.
The one thing here, the US Embassy,
Yes.
where you register,
Yes.
is that different than recording all travel?
Yes. So you can do both. So when you travel outside of Florence, you can go back into the step and upload the information for this new trip, and the government will know. But you definitely need to tell AIFS staff no matter what. All right. So you can do both, but definitely a minimum would be to let AIFS staff know where you're going. I had another question. Yes, sir.
Clarification on
Sure.
clothing. Are you saying don't wear clothing that screams, "Hey, I'm an American"?
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to.
Yeah. That we put in there when the U.S. invaded Iraq in 2003, and we haven't taken it out since then. I don't feel that there's a real anti-American sentiment like there was at that time, but it is always good to sort of blend in and look like a native as much as possible. It makes you less of a target for anything, right? Any kind of pickpocketing, theft, or anything. Anything else, like wearing college sweatshirts or sweatshirts that say Università di Firenze and that kind of thing, they're going to know you're American because this Italian students don't generally wear that. Italian students will probably look dressed up to you guys, you know. So, yeah. All right, cultural differences as far as that. I mean, we've covered a lot of that, but know that you'll do a lot of walking, that customer service probably isn't what you're used to here. You probably will have, waiters be less attentive, shop people be very attentive, ask you what you want a lot, follow you around a store, that's common. Definitely check the refund or return policy after you purchase an item. Not every place has a mandatory refund or return policy. Definitely check that out. Expect smoking. All right, a lot of Europeans still smoke. In restaurants and things like that, I'm not really sure about in Italy. Less. Right. But you'll find it. Definitely expect a language barrier. So it is a great idea to learn some key Italian phrases, right? How to ask for things, how to ask how much things are. That's a great idea. Food will be different. But again, in globalization, you'll find a lot more products, maybe a different name, a different brand, but you'll probably find what you need. Ask our staff. A lot of them are from Southern California and live in Italy. They probably know all of what to get and where. And differences can be positive, right? If we wanted the same old, we'd stay home in Glendora. So expect things will be different.
All the apartments are non-smoking, right? And
all the apartments are non-smoking, yes,
that
sir.
includes vaping?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, that's it, guys.
What's the worst crime that has ever one of the students, except besides being pickpocketed?
That's a good question, and I will finish with this. I think that your students have to take your children, you guys, have to take care to ensure your own safety. You have to take responsibility for yourself, right? Which means acting in an appropriate manner and keeping your wits about you. And alcohol, which is something I didn't get to, which is a health and safety issue also. The amount of alcohol that you use will directly impact your health and safety. Right. So if you're all 18, that is the drinking age in Italy. So alcohol is cheaper there than it is here. It's more readily available. It's part of the culture, but the amount that you drink is entirely up to you. So if you are using so much alcohol that is impairing your ability to make smart choices, get yourself home safely, things happen. All right. If maybe have a glass and something to eat, then generally you're fine, generally. But the medication you're taking, all kinds of things can, affect that. So you are each responsible for that. If you are using alcohol to the point where it affects your health and safety, and we are worried or we feel that your health and safety are in danger, that is a violation of the code of conduct, and we can remove you from the program and send you home. No refund, no credits. All right? And we are watching. We are watching. Okay? When you come to class every day, when you come to activities, we can tell. All right? The same with marijuana use and things like that, we can tell. All right? So you cannot. That is when bad things happen, is when students use alcohol or illegal substances, and then their ability to react is impacted. That's generally when people also notice, and that's when they take advantage of you. So that's when you'll find things happen in a club or on the street. All right, in all of my years of experience, 99% out of 100, a student they're impaired by alcohol or drugs when incidents happen. 99% out of 100. Thanks, guys. Buona fortuna. For my limited Italian, buona fortuna, and I look forward to hearing about you when you come back.
All right.
Yes.
I think it would be a really good time for all of you just to stand up.
Yeah,
Maybe stretch
there
your
you
legs, turn around and meet somebody sitting around you. You'll be traveling together. So if we can pull everybody's attention back. We know it's a long meeting. We've got a lot to say because we're excited and we want it to go well. I just wanted to take a moment to briefly get my humanities students started. If you didn't come up and get a syllabus from me, I have printed copies, so you are welcome to grab one. So for the humanities students, we will have an active Canvas website. This is hosted on Citrus campus. If you are a Citrus student, and now that you're enrolled in study abroad, you should be a Citrus student, at least for the winter term. You'll have access to this. I've not yet published the class, in part because I'm trying to get through my finals, just like you are. It will be available as soon as finals end on December 15th, so you'll be able to log in and see everything that I'm showing you here. What you're seeing in the syllabus is replicated in Canvas. So these are the 3 pre-departure meetings that we are having. They are not mandatory because our semester officially hasn't started, but we do hope that you'll make every effort to come, just for the simple fact that it lets you meet the people that you're traveling with. It allows us to get you set with some good, I already know this, knowledge when you get to Florence. It'll help make the time where we're going out and experiencing things much more useful if we are able to meet ahead of time. The syllabus that I handed out is also located here in our course basics. So if you lose the printed copy, you can take a look at it here. Let's see if we can get this over. Push this button. So again, you have a chance to take a look at it. Over and over in the presentation, you had the information about AIFS. It's on every page of the syllabus as well, so you have a paper copy, and you're welcome to leave it with your parents. And then I will just say, right now, this is what our itinerary looks like tentatively, but part of travel is adapting to change and things that come up. So if something's closed, we'll adjust. So this is, as best as we know now, what we will be doing in the class. So you have that copy there. I do hope that all of you, for my class, will take a look at the reader. There's a PDF file here. We have different readings for the class. They're all housed online. I've also broken them out by class meeting in terms of what we'll be looking at. And then in terms of what I hope you will bring, I always carry a notebook, so it made me laugh that Mike called me out for taking notes, that the teacher's taking notes. Every time I go to Florence, I learn something new. Our guides are outstanding, and they have a wealth of expertise and knowledge. For each study abroad program, I'm very old school. I treat my notebooks almost like a scrapbook. and I take notes as we go, and I carry a glue stick, and I paste my tickets in. And it's a really sort of fun way to remember, oh yeah, that's the place where I saw this. For our class, I would like all of you to have a small notebook that you can carry with you. I like the spiral bound and I like stiff covers because you're not always around something that you can write on, and you are not allowed to prop your notebook against David and start writing. So having something that is portable that you can bend back and write in is really wonderful. Writing utensils, pens, pencils, and then a laptop or tablet for your own work. But again, as we've been saying, Florence is our classroom. There is no textbook that you need to carry with you. The readings that we have are all electronic and online, and you will have access to them ahead of time so you can take a look and not be bogged down as much while we are in Florence itself. I do hope that you'll take a look at what you are expected to do to meet the requirements for the course. It involves a couple pre-departure assignments. I'm going to scroll back and come over here. Things that I would like you to do before you leave. Some of those are contained in the meetings that we are having. Again, if you're not able to attend, you can catch up and do those on your own time. In our course website, there's a film. 1980s aren't so bad, right? They're still kind of hip. So it's a film made in the 1980s. I know, power to the 80s, right? But it really does a beautiful job giving you an overview of the art and the different themes that you can find in Florence. And so that is something that I'd like you to watch. Write 250 words telling me what you got out of the film, and then in that, give me the topic that you're choosing for the main assignment you have for my class, which is a presentation. Humanities is about human expression. It's about the things that make us who we are, and your presentation should be an extension of that. Your presentation should be on a topic or a theme of something that matters to you that you would like to explore more while you are in Florence. So there's a list in our course website that has a really a whole host of topics that you can choose from, but those are suggestions. That's your floor. Sky is the limit in terms of what you want to explore. If you come to me with a topic, I can't really imagine one where I would say, we're not doing that topic. It's supposed to be something that you want to spend time investigating. The reading should help you do that. The visits that we do should help you do that. And what you will do for your course project is present on your topic to your classmates. You will talk about things that we've seen or done or experienced and tie that into the materials that we are moving through in class. And it was really a great experience when we did this with our students 2 years ago. Because everybody sees things differently. And we would go to one place and one person would have an experience, and then the next day in class somebody would present, and we would all say, oh wow, I didn't even think of it that way. And it was a really wonderful way to enrich the experience that we had in Florence. The other pre-departure assignment that I'm asking you to do is to really spend some time learning about the Medici. It is their town. This is the town of the Medici family. They shape and define the Renaissance in Florence. And there is a wonderful film series, Birth of a Dynasty. As a group, in the third pre-departure meeting on December 20th, we will watch the first film in that series. And I believe then Mike's class is going to go ahead and watch the second. So we're asking you to watch all four. It is really well done, wonderful information. It will give you a sense of all of the contributions of the Medici. So your second pre-departure assignment is to, again, write and let me know what you're absorbing from that film series. And then once we are in Florence, we will, as much as possible, be using the city as our textbook, as our classroom. So we'll be spending most of our time going out and looking at what is there. One little thing I wanted to point out that I'm going to try, you're my guinea pigs in this, is a wiki page in our course website. And they're all titled, Can You Find It? So what I'm hoping you will do is when we get into seeing different things, if you find what I have on the page, you'll take a selfie of yourself with this, post it on the wiki page, and we'll sort of start a scavenger hunt around Florence around the themes and topics that we're looking at. So this is my new way to try to get you out exploring different neighborhoods, get your eyes open and what you're looking at. So Humanities 102, we will go over in more depth when we have our pre-departure meetings, but I just wanted to get the syllabus in your hand now so that you would know what the work is that I'm asking you to do. You are welcome and encouraged to contact me anytime. My email information is all on the Canvas website. I think I was more concerned with AIFS email as I'm glancing at this. But you do not have a no-fly zone in my world until December 15th. If you are looking at this and you have questions, let me know, and we'll start the dialogue now. So that is a really quick, in a nutshell, of Humanities 102, and I'll let Mike jump in.
So the 3 class meetings we're going to have pre-departure. Again, they're not mandatory. I would hope everyone can make it. And I was reading through this. For some reason, I left them out. We're going to have dovetail them with Senya's class, so it's either the hour before or the hour after. So it'll be the same day as Senya's. In addition, we're going to watch a movie called Cinema Paradiso, which many people have always said is the most beautiful romantic movie they have ever seen. And this comes from guys who have written, I don't watch movies, I don't watch romantic movies, it's the most beautiful movie I've ever seen. So we'll do that as a fun way to get to know each other, and that will actually be on December 28th. Also on Facebook, we have a page called Italy 2019. I found it was an easy way to communicate in addition to on Canvas, but in Florence, if you just put like, oh, we're all going to Masaccios for lunch, who wants to join? That sort of thing. Otherwise, it's hard because we're all throughout the city.